Yeah, JD, what's up? I said I wish I was there. I feel a little bad by having a football press conference on Elite Eight Day right now. I feel like this should be a holiday in Houston. I should cancel our meetings and we should go get ready for the game. In reality, we had our first practice yesterday in pads, and we're working hard today. We got the players coming up here at 4:00. We're going to meet for 2 hours, have a team meeting at 6, break at 6:15, go into the Cougar Den and watch the Cougars get to the Final Four.
Sounds like a good plan. Are you able to, in a weekday now, have you seen anything you like, or what's the focus been?
Just logging reps right now. It's all it's nothing situational. It's all just everything's controlled. A lot of indie. Pads went on for the first thing. We installed for 3 days in helmets, and then we're going to install for 3 more days in pads, which obviously puts some physical stuff to it. Going to give them Good Friday off and Saturday off, Easter Sunday off, and then come back and get into more situational stuff. So it's all controlled, and it's all just logging reps right now, just trying to stockpile the reps and, create cut ups and all that stuff. But, everything's been good. I mean, the attitude's been good. We have 105 guys that are all dressed out. That's a lot of people in spring. I've never had nearly this many. Will allow us to, if we can remain healthy, which I have no reason to believe we can't, it'll allow us to be able to do a lot of situational stuff and scrimmaging, and heck, we may even split the teams and have some fun on Fridays here so you guys can see.
All right, I'll go over to James Mueller, then over to Mark after that. James?
Yeah, Dana, you talked about this a little bit, but as you transition into pads, what are some of the, things that you're specifically looking for over the first few weeks as you get back to that football, mindset and stuff after going through like all the conditioning and off season?
Well, the football is fairly physical. I don't know if you know that or not, right? I mean, you got to be physical, and you got to, technique and getting after each other's tail is a part of the game that we got to be a little bit better at. Everything starts up front. I love the fact that we have 15 O linemen going through spring, and about 4, 8, 12, about 15 O linemen and 15 D linemen that we can put pads on each other and bang a little bit. There's about 5 tight ends. We're 4 deep at linebacker. So, that'll allow us to be able to practice football the appropriate way, to be able to develop a mindset that has a physical nature to it. There was at times last year where we weren't a very physical football team. I thought we started the year last year very, very good, and I thought we were extremely physical. After probably 3 games of that, we became pretty soft, and we ended the season pretty soft, which is why we didn't come up with a couple more wins towards the end of the year. So love the fact that we can bang and get physical and develop a physical mindset.
All right, next up, Mark Berman, then I'll go over to Rob Sellers after that. Mark?
Dana, since you brought up what's going on in Indianapolis, how much does stuff like that kind of permeate through the program, through the athletic department, through the school? What's this? Because I know you already talked about how you really admire what Kelvin's doing over there. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, it's something that we talk about a lot, honestly, Mark. Our motivation is Houston, and the us in Houston. When we talk about Houston, we talk about us. We talk about how football needs to carry their weight around here. I've talked at length about how we're lucky to have leadership with Renew Couture. The continuity that she's brought for 13 years now is awesome. I walk around this campus every day, and the amount of building that's going on is awesome. Enrollment up to 72.5 or whatever it is awesome. The support that we have with alumni and our fan base is growing daily. What everybody else in the athletic department has been able to accomplish is is awesome. We feed off of that. We talk about that. Our team talks about how basketball is successful, how track and field is successful, how volleyball is successful. How baseball's got good vibes going on. What's football done to support that? We really haven't done anything since 2015, and that's talked about a lot within our walls. And that's our motivation, to be able to get football to the point where we have the amount of success that campus is having and basketball is having as well.
All right, next up, Rob Sellers. Go ahead, Rob.
Thanks, Tyler. All right. Coach, in terms, I know you mentioned maybe splitting them up towards the end, the final 2 Fridays that are opened up for the public. In terms of scrimmages, do you have planned scrimmages this spring? And if so, can you say where those are at and how important those will be in terms of the battles that'll go on between now and then?
Yeah, I got a plan moving forward. I mean, it's all install this week. No tackling this week, all install this week. Well, give them a little bit of a break. I like giving them weekends off, Saturdays and Sundays off. This past weekend we worked. I mean, we're here all day Saturday. We're here all day yesterday. That way I'll be able to give them Good Friday off and Saturday off and Easter Sunday off and get a little bit of a break, and then come back and have the final 3 weeks, which will be, we'll prep on Tuesday. We'll tackle a little bit on Thursday, and then we'll scrimmage on Friday. We'll do that for 3 straight weeks. I hope we can split the team up. I got a plan that we're working through right now that I think should be a lot of fun. And when everybody gets to come watch us those last 2 Fridays, it should be incredibly competitive and a lot of fun to watch.
All right, got time for a couple more. If anybody wants to use the raise your hand tool, we'll work through a couple more for Coach. All right, over to Joseph.
Dana, the performances by your 2 corners last year, sort of speak for themselves, but having those 2 guys to start off with as a secondary and not having to make any changes with losses there, how big is that for you going into this season?
Pretty big. Those guys are talented. Pepe and Marcus are both talented. They both in the return game and as corners. Alex Hogan, the transfer from Texas Tech's been catching my attention a good bit. That's another one that we can throw into the mix. The leadership with those guys is really good. Hassan Hippolyte is maybe one of our best leaders back there. I mean, he's starting to come into his own right now. He's had an awesome offseason. We got a 6th-year senior in Giovanni Stewart, a 6th-year senior in Deontay Anderson, and a fourth or 5th-year junior in Donnie Newton. I mean, those guys are bringing just a bunch of leadership to that side of the ball. So, and then in D-line, we don't have any, like Derek Parrish is standing out from a leadership perspective, but we got a lot of guys that are starting to come into their own on the D-line as well. So I like where we're at on defense right now.
As you get deeper into spring and, things settle down, basketball is ending here, is there like a positive kind of story that you're anxious to see at a spring, maybe somebody, or is it a position, or is it just maybe the feel of the team as you go into year 3 that you're real anxious to maybe, see how it plays out?
Pretty anxious. Got a lot of work to do, but pretty anxious. I mean, everything's on track right now. Just with continuity and where we're at. I mean, I encourage everybody to kind of trust where we're at right now. And, like I said, there's 105 bodies that are practicing every day. There's, we're going to be adding another 15 or so here in June. So, I mean, daggone, man, I'm pretty excited about it. There's a lot of storylines. There's a lot of positive things. I mean, I can't just pinpoint one thing. You had
Right.
grad transfers like Trey Williams is a 6'5", 250-pound dude that looks like an NFL pass rusher to me. You had a center in Cody Russi, that was a team captain at La Tech that's bringing some older stability type stuff. There's a whole bunch of storylines. like I said, and I'm being honest, we need to get excited about this football team. There's going to be time for us to start tooting our own horns, and guys, when they be able to come watch us on these Fridays, they're going to like what they see. I'm anxious to watch us win the Elite Eight and go to the Final Four and get excited and pumped up for our basketball program right now, and just let us keep logging reps and let us keep working. And here in a couple of weeks, people will be able to come watch and see. Clayton Tune is a pretty seasoned, experienced quarterback. Mobile Carr is healthy and looks pretty fantastic. There's a lot of good storylines, and they're going to be coming out. Let's be patient and get to a couple of these Fridays here a couple of weeks from now, and I think everybody will be excited about what they see.
Next question goes to James Mueller. James.
Yeah, I know last year you talked about how Clayton really took over the team and felt like it was his team. Have you seen any other offensive players sort of emerge as vocal leaders through these first few weeks of spring, as you've talked about some of the guys on defense that have stepped up?
Yeah, offensively, Dennis Bardwell is back and he's healthy. He didn't finish the year. He was one of the 15 or 20 guys that didn't finish the year for a variety of reasons, but he's taken the lead up front. Looks really good to me. Christian Trahan is, starting to emerge as a guy that, one, we can rely on. He's an every down player, but from a vocal standpoint, he's a guy that's starting to step up and do some things. So those, it's happening. It's like, kind of like I just said right there, we just gotta, we got to log reps and we got to practice and we got to keep maturing and keep getting better. And, once it's time for you guys to come look, I think you're going to say, okay, this is a football team I think's got a chance to be pretty good.
And sort of going off of that with Clayton, you called him, experienced and stuff. After having a full year of starting under his belt, what are some of the areas you're looking at him to improve to take that next step as your quarterback?
Eliminating the really bad is something that we're really focusing on. Just making routine plays is incredibly important. I think he's getting much better at that, just with the knowledge of the offense and the timing that exists, and having people that can actually block people in front of them is pretty important. All that stuff's good, but the main thing is just really is eliminating the really bad play. Everybody's going to have some bad plays, but the really, really, really bad ones are the ones that get you beat, and that's what we got to get rid of.
All right, JD, got one more. Go ahead.
And to keep it light, you've seen what Kelvin's done defensively. Think he'd make a pretty good coordinator on the defensive side, just what those guys do.
Says he likes football, so I'd be more than interested to get him over here to develop a mentality of us stopping people, because we're one of the better defensive basketball teams that I've seen in quite some time. I've been pretty fortunate as a college football coach. I watched Bob Knight at Texas Tech. I watched Bob Huggins at West Virginia, and now Kelvin Sampson at Houston. So I need to not just sit here and be a fan. I need to study what they do so we can implement some of the techniques that's involved in stopping people, because we're pretty daggum good at it. But I like where we're at defensively. I really do. I mean, you got to be good on defense in order to win championships. That's definitely what Kelvin's done his entire career, and hopefully that we can get here. I think we're in the right position to be able to get that done. Hopefully, I think Doug's doing a great job. The camaraderie on defense is really good. Our team is extremely excited about who's coaching them, and his voice is going to go a long ways.
That's over 2,000 wins that you've of coaches.
A lot. I know Coach Hugs just got over 900 here, but Kelvin's going to keep logging those wins now. I mean, he's done a pretty good job of that here over the last few years. It's been fun to watch. I've said a whole bunch. I mean, I'm a big basketball fan, but fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
All right, Sam Kahn hopped on, so we'll get Sam in really quickly as well. Go ahead, Sam.
Dana, sorry, was talking to my boss. Hey,
no excuse. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. Nobody wants to hear excuses.
Ain't that the truth? Dana, I'm curious, how different does this roster look in terms of body type and depth from what it did when you first got here?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. It is, I mentioned this earlier. I mean, I kind of feel bad about talking football on a day like this when we're trying to get into the Final Four, but we need to keep logging reps, and then here in a couple weeks when everybody comes, I think they're going to like what they see. We got 105 guys that are dressed out right now. And the biggest where you can really see it is just what the body types are like O-line, D-line wise. I mean, we got big, thick kids that are athletic on the inside. We got length at the end where our tackles look like offensive tackles. They don't look like centers. The body types look good and depth looks good, so it looks like a real football team to me. And now my job is slowly get people excited about it, but just keep logging reps and practice and get good. And then when we have a chance to get out there on a couple of Fridays, hopefully it resembles football and people can then get excited about what the fall is going to look like.
Yeah. And then on a different note, I know a lot of people have been waiting for the dead period to get lifted. I've seen some prospects and I guess some schools have maybe acknowledged that they're starting to schedule official visits for June and stuff like that. I guess what's your anticipation as far as that goes? And are you guys kind of planning to, hey, in June, we're going to be able to possibly have kids on campus?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't do it. We got a plan for it. So we got a plan if that happens, but I really got, I believe it's April 15th. I got that day circled more than anything because that's when they're going to vote on things. And so until they vote on it, there's nothing we can do. We better continue to recruit virtually the way that we've been doing it. Once they lift it, I've never been a big fan of June visits anyway. That's just a long time between then and signing day. People want to schedule official visits for publicity reasons, then go ahead. I'm not a big fan of that. We're just going to do things the way that we're allowed to do them right now. And if they change it, then we'll shift gears and hopefully get kids on campus. I've heard a whole bunch of different things. Right? They're going to lift it, but then you can only have one on at a time or something. I don't know. I mean, who the heck knows what they're going to do, right? So we're going to recruit the way that we can recruit right now. I'm still trying to fill this past year's class. We got about 5 spots that we're trying to fill. If they lift it in June, that'll help us fill those 5. Now the 25 for the next year, I don't know. I mean, we'll start getting into that when we feel like it's necessary to get into that. Clearly we're recruiting them right now, but I'm not in a big hurry to be able to get, start getting a bunch of commitments for the 22 class,
Do the camps, when you get them on your campus for the camps, you test them, run them, how valuable is that for you guys?
It's valuable, but it's been a year since we've been able to do it, or a year and a half since we've been able to do it. So until they say we can do it, then we're just going to keep doing what we're doing right now. I don't know how else to do it, but it's valuable, and this is such a neat place right now in the spring. I mean, the weather's so good here in Houston, and you got just all kinds of activity going on right here with track and field and baseball and basketball. A couple of weeks ago, we would have been a great opportunity to be able to bring people on campus. I mean, once we get them here, people like it and they say, wow, that's really changing there at Houston. And so once we can do it, we most definitely can't wait to be able to get kids on campus to be able to show them what Houston's turning into.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for joining us. I'll send out a recording.